What's going on? How everybody doing? I'm well. I'm back at practice today, so I'm thankful.
What if I told you that one throw, just a single, perfectly timed pass, could flip the entire narrative of an NFL training camp? That in a room full of seasoned veterans and hungry prospects, a rookie could step up, silence the doubters, and force everyone, coaches, fans, and even the harshest reporters, to look twice. Today, we're breaking down the viral moment that's got the entire Cleveland Browns camp buzzing, and why it might be the start of something much bigger for Sanders. But before we get into the details, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update on the biggest stories in football. Day 10 Training Camp Report. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Presented by Maloney and Noaten, today's story isn't just about a practice session. It's about a moment that nobody saw coming. Not the fans, not the critics, and definitely not the Browns coaching staff.
I love how he's handling stuff. Notice today, we were all...
For weeks, Sanders had been quietly grinding through training camp. He was getting limited reps, dealing with some lingering soreness, and buried deep in a crowded quarterback room. Most people thought he'd fade into the background. Just another name fighting for scraps behind NFL vets like Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. But then, everything changed. One throw, one moment, and suddenly, all eyes were on Sanders. The moment that changed everything. Let's set the scene. Day 10 of Browns training camp, the last day of open practices for the fans. The media's doing their usual rounds, fans are in the stands, and reps are being handed out like clockwork. Sanders had missed the previous day with what was described as arm or shoulder soreness. Nothing too serious, but in a camp full of seasoned quarterbacks and hungry prospects, missing a day can mean missing an opportunity. So when Sanders returned, expectations were low. People figured he'd just blend in, maybe get a few snaps, and that would be it. But what happened next caught everyone off guard. Not only did he look comfortable, he looked locked in. He was moving with confidence, reading the defense, and delivering the ball with sharp precision. The sideline chatter started. Eyes began to drift toward number 2. And then, Tony Grossi, a veteran Browns reporter known for being brutally honest, stood in front of the cameras and gave Sanders the kind of credit most rookies never get. He called it the play of the day, and not just out of sympathy. This was a 3rd and 17 situation. High pressure, tight coverage, and Sanders nailed it. The throw, breaking it down. Let's talk about that throw. 3rd and 17. The Browns were in a field goal situation period. Running a drill meant to simulate real game conditions. The pocket was collapsing. Defenders were closing in, and Sanders stood behind center, fully aware of what was at stake. He fired a dart over the middle to tight end Luke Floria, who was tightly covered. Somehow, Sanders threaded the ball in stride, hitting Floria in a near impossible window. The crowd reacted. Coaches nodded. And on the sideline, Tony Grossi took note. He didn't just say Sanders made a nice play. He called it the play of the day, a title that usually belongs to veterans or starting QBs. Coming from Grossi, that praise meant something. He's not the type to get swept up in hype. For a young quarterback fighting to be seen, it couldn't have come at a better time. It wasn't just a solid throw. It was the kind of moment that instantly flips the narrative. 3rd down, 17 yards to go, in a high-pressure field goal drill, and Sanders delivered. This wasn't just a bounce back, it was a statement. The stats and the impact. But this wasn't about hype. It was about execution under pressure. For Sanders, it wasn't just one highlight. It was a glimpse of what he could become when given a real chance. Efficiency, 7 completions on 9 attempts. Poise, undeniable. Confidence, clearly growing. But as impressive as that moment was, it might have meant more than just a spot on the highlight reel. Make no mistake, Sanders isn't walking into a clear path. The Browns quarterback room is already packed. Joe Flacco, the Super Bowl MVP turned journeyman vet, took the lion's share of reps, finishing 9 of 12 on the day. Then there's Kenny Pickett, still nursing a hamstring injury, but slowly re-entering the mix. And Dillon Gabriel, though limited, is a proven gamer with upside, The coaches have been watching closely. So where does that leave Sanders? Somewhere between the radar and right under it. Mindset, pressure, and motivation. Sanders' mindset is clear. He doesn't want distractions. He doesn't want his dad, NFL legend Dillon Sanders, showing up just yet. He wants to earn it on his own. He wants to get to where he's going before anyone comes to see him. He knows there's a lot he has to do to get there, and he wants everything he's doing to be about focus and timing. No distractions, no shortcuts. Despite fewer reps, his efficiency stood out. 7 completions on 9 attempts, with the most talked about throw of the day. That's not just production, that's pressure management and clutch instinct, both hard to teach and even harder to ignore. More importantly, with Pickett and Gabriel limited by injuries, the window for Sanders to take more meaningful reps is opening. And if he keeps showing flashes like this, the coaching staff may be forced to look twice. Training camp isn't just about who throws the most. It's about who makes moments count. And Sanders, he just made his first one. The challenge, earning respect. But this story isn't just about competition. There's something deeper fueling Sanders' drive. Something tied to doubt, expectations, and everything that came before. Respect in the NFL isn't handed out. It's earned, usually over time. But for Sanders, time is a luxury he doesn't have. He's not an NFL quarterback. Not right now. And the fact that the Browns keep running him out there for first-team reps, part of it is because Kenny Pickett's banged up with a hamstring injury, so there's not a lot he can do. But this goes back. They've been putting him out there first with the 11-on-11 going back to the off-season program. Some critics say they're cramming this guy down our throats, and it's not good. Coming out of college, Sanders wasn't met with the overwhelming praise some top-tier QBs enjoy. Critics pointed to his mechanics, questioned his arm strength, and whispered about whether his fame was more about his last name than his skill. It wasn't just media chatter, it was doubt from every corner. Then came the training camp soreness. One missed day turned into speculation. Was he too fragile? Was he ready for the speed and grind of the pros? In a league where narratives move faster than the game itself, Sanders was slipping into a box he never asked to be in. But that's what made day 10 so important. That single throw, that single moment, wasn't just a completion. It was a punchback at the noise. A reminder that he's not here to play a role in someone else's story. He's here to write his own. Pushback and pressure. Of course, not everyone's convinced. Some say it's not personal, it's just about performance. They point out that Sanders isn't always great during warm-ups. He's pretty good during 7-on-7 when there's no offensive and defensive lines. But he's just not a good quarterback, they say. He's a third-round pick, and some believe he has no business being in contention to start a football game this year. But while Sanders was rewriting his script on the field, one of his closest allies was making moves of his own. A former teammate who took an unexpected leap into pro football in a different country altogether. Justin Mayers, the parallel story. While Sanders was turning heads in Cleveland, another name from Colorado was making quiet waves north of the border. Justin Mayers. You might remember him. 6'4", 320 pounds of raw power on the offensive line. He shared the trenches with Sanders back at Colorado, protecting him during a season full of hype, pressure, and noise. Now, he's taking a different route, signing with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL. At first glance, it might seem like a step down, but dig deeper, and it tells a different story. Mayers had his shot in the NFL earlier this year during rookie minicamp with the Denver Broncos. Solid college resume, all conference honors, over 480 offensive snaps, and just 2 sacks allowed during his final season. The talent was never in question. But the NFL can be brutal, especially for linemen trying to claw their way into crowded depth charts. So, he took the alternate path, one that many overlooked players use to prove they belong. In Canada, Mayers won't just be another backup. He'll get reps, film, and the chance to dominate. And if he does, a return to the NFL isn't just possible, it's likely. But just like Sanders, Mayers is betting on himself, and he's not looking back. The significance of the moment. Moments like these rarely seem significant, until they are. For Sanders, That 3rd and 17 completion may look like a simple training camp highlight, but in a league where reps are limited and attention is scarce, it could be the spark that shifts perception. He's no longer just Deion's son or the rookie with potential. He's the guy who stepped up when nobody expected it and got the media to admit it. That matters. Coaches may not always say it out loud, but standout moments shape depth charts. They earn extra snaps. They put players in front of decision makers. And when other QBs are nursing injuries or struggling to connect, it's the one who seizes the moment that often rises. As for Justin Mayers, his journey proves that not every win comes inside the NFL bubble. While others chase practice squad spots, he's suiting up as a pro, building game tape, and staying in football shape. It's a longer road, but sometimes it's the one that lasts. The truth is, both Sanders and Mayers are chasing respect in different ways. One with a single throw, the other with a cross-border leap of faith. And if they keep stacking moments like these, they might just rewrite the stories that were written for them. Every NFL season has its breakout stars, but the ones we remember, they're usually the underdogs, the players nobody expected, the ones who refuse to be forgotten. Sanders just threw himself into that conversation. What looked like a quiet return to camp turned into a public turning point. That one throw may not guarantee him a roster spot or a starting job, but it did something far more powerful. It shifted the tone. Reporters took notice. Coaches saw composure. And fans? They're starting to ask a different question. What if Sanders is actually the real deal? And then there's Justin Mayers, grinding miles away from the NFL spotlight, proving that the road to greatness doesn't always follow a straight line. He's betting on himself in a different league, in a different country, but with the same hunger. Both of them are walking the tightrope between being counted out and counted on. And while the headlines might fade in a day or two, the impact of what they did this week won't. Because every comeback, every breakthrough, every NFL success story starts the same way, with a moment no one expected and a player who refused to let it slip away. This chapter? It's only getting started. If you want to keep following the journey of Sanders, Justin Mayers, and all the underdogs rewriting the script in football, make sure you're subscribed. Drop a comment below. Do you think Sanders has what it takes to make the Browns roster? Is Justin Mayers the next big CFL to NFL success story? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. And as always, stay tuned for more stories that prove in football anything can happen.